Welcome to our fifth session today in Seminar Room 1 at the Grad Ireland Graduate Careers Fair. We're here to talk about careers with impact in the not-for-profit sector. My name is Rory Cavan, I'm the editor of Grad Ireland. I'd like to just introduce my two panellists. Delighted to have Joe Power from the Peter McVerry Trust and Rhonda Wynne from For a Purpose. So what we're going to do is a quick conversation, some questions with both Joe and Rhonda about careers in the not-for-profit sector, the opportunities, some of the misconceptions people may have about work in that area, and then we leave some time for Q&A towards the end of the session, okay? So Joe, if I could just start with yourself, maybe just a little bit about the Peter McVerry Trust in terms of career opportunities for graduates and what is it that you're looking for?
Okay, so we would have a lot of opportunities in the Peter McVerry Trust. We would hire people who have a background in any of the social science, humanities, psychology. So we really, I suppose, look for potential in people and a very positive attitude as well. So we're very open in terms of the people that we take. We don't request any previous experience. We do like people to have worked maybe in retail or, in something, but experience in the sector is absolutely not necessary. We like what we call blank canvases, and then we'll make you what we wish.
And in terms of how many the scale of the Peter McVerry Trust in terms of
so we have 800 whole-time employees. Wow. We have over 50 different services, and a big growth area for us at the moment is our housing section. So it's a really exciting time to be in the organisation. We're very much focused on being part of the solution, and so we're seeing rapid growth in the organisation the last 2 years.
Okay, you make sure you have your headsets on, that's right. Thanks, Joe. And Rhonda, a little bit about For a Purpose. I know, because you take care of a number of different organisations in the not-for-profit sector. Tell us a bit about For a Purpose and what it is.
Good afternoon. For Purpose is a graduate programme for the non-profit sector. So we work with a number of non-profit organisations, and we help those organisations recruit graduates for particular roles that they have. So there are a wide variety of roles. We're working, for example, at the moment with the housing bodies, for OIGA, Epilepsy Ireland, Jigsaw, so some of the larger charities and non-profit organisations. And very much like Joe had said about, we're looking for people from a whole variety of different backgrounds, and not particularly with a whole level of experience. So they're early career entry roles, and once a graduate gets a post, then we provide mentoring for them throughout the year, and they attend learning seminars, so they're part of a broader kind of programme to learn about the sector more broadly.
Okay. And Joe, in terms of the not-for-profit sector may not be where a lot of graduates would aim when they're thinking about their career after university, and I know that's evolving as people have a greater understanding of the sector. Can you explain a bit about what some of the common misconceptions are, and what you've experienced in terms of how graduates now view?
So one of the most common misconceptions is that we don't pay. Okay. We pay, and we pay a very professional salary because we are asking professionals to come in to do a professional job. So I think the biggest misconception is around that we are totally staffed by volunteers. A couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you remember Storm Emma, and the Peter McVerry Trust opened up over 200 emergency beds for people sleeping on the streets, and we have a special grand plan for disaster. So the grand plan button was triggered. So probably about 60 paid employees actually were on site to work with all the people who were coming in. But I actually heard Peter on Ireland AM, and I wanted to phone up because Lorraine is there chatting to Peter and going, that's amazing, now you've opened that, so you'll need loads of volunteers to go down to man it. And I was thinking, no, we're a mean, lean, well-oiled machine, professional people doing a professional job. We had that place up in like 6 hours, and we had fully qualified staff down there. So I think for me the misconception is that charities don't give you a career, that you don't have progression, that you don't have purposeful work. You learn so much, and I know at various points we've had graduates who maybe had thought about going into the corporate world, and then they wanted just to try something different, and they've worked with us for 2 years, and then they've gone on to GT, PwC, and they've gone into the business world. So I think the skills you get in somewhere like Peter McVerry, you take with you for life. So for me, it is very ambitious organisation. There is great opportunity and potential, and it's very well paid. So they're the things I think that people just don't know.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. And any specific skill sets or traits that would make you particularly suitable? I know you're looking for a wide range of characteristics and skill sets. Anything in particular that would stand out on an application?
Well, when I meet employers and they're looking for graduates to come in, they want two things. They always say they want somebody who's got a commitment to the sector, an interest in it, and a curiosity about it. And however that shows, might have been through doing volunteering in college, or have been involved in some kind of an association, or have worked in it. And they always say they want somebody who has got something about them, or a bit about them, so that they've got a bit of gumption, cop on, that they can get stuck in. They're not afraid to make a phone call. They're curious and they're willing to learn. That they understand that they may be, going in multiple directions, but that if taken correctly, that there's an opportunity to learn lots of different skills and get a broad range of exposure to whole areas of kind of a business that you might not if you were going into a large corporate. And I completely echo what you say. The jobs are paid, they're professional. The talent who are working in the sector are phenomenal. Every day I meet people and they're really inspiring. The skills, what we can learn from them, and it's not. And there's a massive misconception that it's all just volunteering and shaking buckets, the sector. It's not. And there's a huge range of professions, from accountancy to legal roles, professional construction roles, right across. Welcome in the sector.
Okay, so I mean, and again, Rhonda, just on that, so people who are saying, well, listen, I did marketing, I did digital marketing.
Yeah.
What use would I be to?
Well,
but I mean, as you're saying that there's it's a great market for transferable skills.
Just on that example, marketing and digital marketing at the moment, there was a report done on the sector, and there's a significant gap in terms of IT or communications and marketing skills. And there's so many organisations are trying to tell about their story. They're trying to convince people about the work that they do, get across their message, and explain what the impact of their work that they're doing. And so they're trying to upskill across social media, digital media, encourage people to go into those roles and use their skills to explain the work of organisations and create an awareness about what they're doing. So there's quite a lot of our roles recently have been in that exact area.
Okay, that's a good example. And Joe, some people as well, if they're considering roles in the sector, may be that I don't see a career path, a long-term career path, that you're saying, people often work in the sector and then they may move on. But I mean, obviously, from two examples here, in terms of career path, where can you go in a career, say, for example?
No, absolutely. So in the Peter McVerry Trust, people come in at entry level as social care workers, okay, and then we'd have probably 40 different services. So there's a management structure within each service. So you have your social care project workers, then you have team leaders, and then you have a manager within that service. Then you have a head of service that might have 5 or 6 different services under their direction. So as you go up, we have layers of management. And the thing is, in the Peter McVerry Trust, our ethos is really, really important to us, and making sure that's kept pure throughout the organisation. And I mean, at the end of the day, who better than to promote than the people who work with us? So once you're with us for 2 years, you can then apply for the next layer of promotion, which would be a team leader. Then you're eligible to become manager and head of service. And one of my favourite interviews was a young lady who'd come back from Australia. She'd worked for 2 years in Australia. She was out of college. She really, really wanted to get her career moving, and I just sat there at the end of the interview and she said, career progression matters to me, and I said, well, let me assure you, you're in the right organisation if you are looking for a career progression. You work hard, you put your hand up, you will progress. And about a year and a half later, she phoned me and she goes, I just wanted to say thank you. And I said, for what? And she goes, you said career progression and you were so right. Just been appointed team leader, and now she's actually a manager, and that's 4 years after joining. And especially in an organisation that's growing, new services are opening, we always look to within to bring on the next layer of management, because you guys understand the people, you understand the work, you have our ethos, so who better than to train in the next new people coming in but you who've been with us for 2 years.
And Joe, why is it important to recruit people at graduate level? I mean, you're not looking for just volunteers, not looking for experienced managers. Or what do graduates contribute to organisations like Peter McVerry?
Sorry, I didn't.
What do graduates contribute?
So much, I swear, because you come in with fresh ideas and energy, and an optimism and an enthusiasm. And you know, the work that we do is really, really hard, and we love people who come in who just bring with them that energy. You bring that want to change, you know, and it just brings so much to the organisation. It really, really does. I mean, things are changing all the time. People have new ideas, seeing different things, you know, and you know, for a team to get somebody new, for the team to know people still want to work with us, that's a huge bolster as well, because the work is tough. So they just love to think, you know, it restores faith in human nature. People still want to come into us. So grads are really important.
And while you're obviously looking for, you know, graduates from different backgrounds, like any graduate program, it has to go through a process, and that process is by its nature, it's going to be demanding, it's going to be challenging. There will be people, you know, looking for in the same position as someone in this room may be looking for. What would make a CV stand out to you, Rhonda, in terms of a position?
What makes when we get applications, we screen them for. We require a cover letter, and I cannot state how important a decent cover letter is. Address it to the right organisation, apply for the right job. And I'm not trying to be smart, but we get at least a third of our applications are immediately are dismissed, because people are you can see they're on a platform, they're just sending it in, they're pegging it in anywhere. They haven't tailored it to the job that's at hand. They haven't even addressed it to the right job. We've got things saying, well, I'm looking forward to a career in international finance, and they're applying for a small local charity or something.
Yeah.
So that's a starting point. That'll get you eliminated if you don't do that. And then the other thing is a short letter. Explain why you're interested in the job. Name the job, name the organisation, and say why you are interested. Now, you don't have to be a bleeding heart and say you want to save the world or whatever, but do say why you're committed to the job and why you have an interest in it and why you're curious about working with them. They're really key things. And some kind of a summary of, you know, the skills that you think you would bring to it, something that you have done that may be of value, whether it's been volunteering or you know, some kind of a background. A one-page letter is sufficient, and a two-page CV, short and succinct, and highlight anything that you have done. Can't stress highly enough, if you've worked in retail, anybody who's worked in retail during COVID, massive skill set to have on. If you manage masks, all of that thing, gives you customer service, teamwork, all of those kind of things. People can be dismissive of it. Oh, I only worked in a cafe. It's not. It's a huge skill set to bring in. So any of those kind of things where you've worked, been public facing, you've interacted with people, you've spoken to them, you've been part of a team. If you can talk about those things or explain them in a succinct form, are really valuable.
Here, here. Absolute 100%.
Yeah, and Joe, for yourself, what makes a CV or
yeah, but very, very similar. It's just people who have had experience and who've worked their way through college. We always admire that. We don't need people to have done volunteering or anything. It's just seeing somebody has a work ethic. And again, like everything that you said, I would absolutely reiterate, you know, I mean, it's just, and again, you know, like, you know, people will send in CVs. I've got letters that have had Dear Focus Ireland, okay, and we're a Peter McVerry Trust. I mean, it happens, and I know you're all thinking it can't happen 5 times a day, right, and we're both sitting here. So for me, I think it's motivation to want to work in the organisation. And you know, if somebody said, I heard Peter on the radio, he blew me away, I'm going, that's great, that's enough, that's all we want. It's not anything amazing or anything else. So yeah, so I think including all of your work experience on your application form is really important, and no gaps.
Yeah, and you know, people here may not have significant work experience, but in terms of, as you said, they don't have to show volunteering, but even things they may have done in college or university, you know, societies, clubs, initiative projects, this all adds to what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. People do quite a lot in colleges, in societies and clubs. We've had quite a number of very keen advocacy students through. They've been campaigning. It might have seemed like a small thing in college or whatever, but they've been part of a campaign. They've generally organised committees, they've run committees, they've run events, they have maybe lobbied college on some kind of an internal policy. And then they have been able to maybe raise funds. Some of the clubs and societies across colleges are massive fundraising powerhouses. They raise a huge amount of money for organisations. But to be involved in any of those, maybe if you've been a chairperson or a secretary, one thing that our employers love is people who've come through those and have maybe been the social media campaign manager for some of those. Massive skill set that maybe us older fogies don't know, and they appreciate that. So we've appointed somebody recently and would have gotten her role on her being a president of a college society and the work that she did in that, and campaigning for a huge skill set acquired over the college years.
Fantastic.
And I suppose you hear a lot of it in the corporate world now, culture, the importance of culture in an organisation. They put it up posters and they put it in all sorts of campaigns. But I suppose more than any sector, culture is extremely important, in that you're, Joe, just put this your way, in that you're dedicated to, while you want to pursue your career, develop your career, you do need to care for the cause.
Yeah, you do.
And so culture is massively important.
Yeah, purpose for work is really, really important. In the Peter McVerry Trust, our ethos is central to everything that we do, and that is to be non-judgmental and to treat everybody with unconditional positive regard. We work with people who are very active in their addiction, and that's very challenging work to be engaged in. And for you to enjoy working in the Peter McVerry Trust, you need to be aligned to our ethos, and we would absolutely 100% say people who really believe in our ethos, that non-judgment piece, they do extraordinarily well in the Peter McVerry Trust, because the fit, it's a two-way thing. We have to be right for you and you have to be right for us, and if you truly believe in what an organisation are doing, then you will do very, very well, because your values are aligned with the values of the organisation. So you find going to work is a pleasurable thing, it's an enjoyment thing, because you truly believe in what you're doing.
And I suppose as well, people make questions, they go, well, I'd love to do that, I think I could do that, I think I have skills that the Peter McVerry Trust would benefit from, but I don't know if I could deal with some of the extreme situations that I might be exposed to. What sort of supports are in place?
Yeah, so what we do is we bring people in a very structured way. So we would bring people in on a 2-year program. So the first month is doing an awful lot of training. So you would have trainings helping you develop the skills that you need to deal with those situations, and then you would do a lot of shadow shifts in our services, so you get to know what the service is like, you get to know your colleagues. And I suppose sometimes people accuse me of painting a very bleak picture of working. It's not. It's actually a really, really good place to work. Yes, there are challenges, but we have highly trained staff. We have a lot of policies, a lot of procedures in place. So when something happens, we know how to deal with it. So I suppose once you're open to learning, once you're willing to engage, once you ask questions and reflect on how you do things and how we do things, you'll do very, very well. Everybody we hire are straight out of college. Most people don't have any experience except retail, catering. But if you've worked, during COVID and people, missing the queues, whatever, you've all seen those behaviours. And, I think, to be honest, they're easier managed in our services, because we train people how to deal with them than you would be sitting in, a checkout somewhere unequipped, and unexpecting of such a situation.
Thanks, Joe. Rhonda, would you like to add to that in terms of, I suppose, that sort of support is kind of throughout the sector as well?
Most organisations, certainly we're working with a lot of larger organisations, and they have good systems in place to support people, and when they're bringing in graduates, they're making an investment in their future. It's back to they want to grow their own staff, grow their own leaders, and they bring people in and they genuinely try and support them, put programs together so that they can reach particular stages through the year and assist them. In terms of culture, it's the thing that all our graduates would ask us. More and more at interviews, what is the culture, and it's a thing the employers at the other end are very careful to try and develop, so that they can encourage students or graduates when they go in to see the value of working. They'll say, to make them realise why they get up. Some change doesn't happen overnight. It can be long, it can be tiring, frustrating. There's bureaucracy and administration with everything. But if somebody sees somebody getting a key to a house, or coming through a youth program or something, it's those moments that make it valuable for people. And all the organisations really do try and focus on those, the impact and the rewards that they see for the work that they're doing. That's my experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Rhonda. Do you have any questions on the sector itself, on either of the organisations here? Nope. Okay so far. Just in terms of the application process, Joe, the window of applications, how many graduates you take on. Just a brief overview of the program.
So we actually we had our grad program this year in July and August, and we had a huge demand. So we've actually extended it now until the month of November. So each month we're running our training, our graduate training for the month. So you can apply on our website. All the roles are on the website. Any roles that we have coming along at any point in the year, we put on the website, and then we'll have our grad program for next year launching at the end of February next year.
And sorry, that's Peter McVerry Trust.ie.
Yeah.
And you're on stand. You're here today.
93.
I don't know.
I think behind Deloitte.
Can't miss Deloitte anyway. And sorry, Rhonda, if you could.
We recruit for a whole variety of organisations, so we have roles right throughout the year, and we advertise them all on Grad Ireland is the first place. It's our major platform. We have a partnership with them, and the roles are advertised there. We also advertise them on our own website and social media, which is forpurpose.ie. So
that's the word
forpurpose.ie, and any job that comes up, there's usually the application period is about 3 weeks for we receive them, and then there's about another 3 weeks for us to manage the screening and the interview process and before somebody is appointed. So that's the kind of window we try and work within. But it's not like a regular program where there's a set date or whatever.
Okay.
It's ongoing and rolling, and we'll hopefully have more roles in the coming months.
Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. And just finally, if someone is saying, well, I always wanted to work for Concern or the Red Cross or an organisation that you may not see has roles available now, I assume there's a lot of cross-pollination between various charitable organisations because you're going to gain skills.
Absolutely.
Or in the organisation you would work with in Focus, say, for example, that would be transferable to other organisations in the NGO sector, both here and overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'd have a lot of people who actually worked in the Red Cross, working with the Peter McVerry Trust, and again, just the experience they bring with them, it's just tremendous.
And we'd see people move around, and I mean, our aspiration with the graduate program is that the future leaders for the sector, some organisation might be bringing them in now, but that hopefully that they will grow up through and remain in the sector and be part of the sector. So it's kind of hopefully longer term game.
That's great. If no one's any questions then, no? Okay. Well, listen, I'd like to thank both Joe and Rhonda for talking to us here today. If you have any questions at the end, if you want to pop up and address them directly, that's fine. Thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you found some benefit from the session, and enjoy the rest of your day.